Hello, this is a video for question 4 for my A2 Media coursework. The basic specification this year was to create a trailer along with a poster and a magazine for a film of your choice, with a genre of your choice. And as a group, we all came up with a pre-production and the planning before that. And within this video, I'm going to talk about the variety of technology that I use within this coursework. First of all, the blog we created on WordPress, which I also used last year.
As you can see here, it's a really easy system to use. Down the left-hand side, you have posts where you could just make posts on the blog, so such as minutes, and then pages where you could make your pages, your deconstructions, all your research and planning, and so forth. And then below you have the appearance where you can really decide on the layout and other layout options for the blog.
This year, I definitely think that I advanced in my ability to navigate and use the system. As it's been updated within the past year, it's very easy to use and create menus and pages that separate from each other. You can also choose your own layout, some which don't even cost any money, so you could choose from that depending on what you want your blog to look like. So for example, our film was a horror, so I used a much darker scheme of colours along with the images that relate to the genre as well.
Here you can see one of the examples that is available on WordPress for free, which as you can see has the drop down menu available as long as a big banner at the top to attract your audience instantly. This is a snapshot of the layout on my blog, so you can see immediately you get those connotations of horror and fear, so you know the genre of the film already, depending on the colours and the images I've chosen.
As we started our pre-production, I firstly used Prezi to detail our focus group. When I chose our focus group, I thought it was quite important to just to give some basic details about them, to tell exactly what their interests are in film generally before we actually use them for our own production.
As you can see here, the system offers a range of templates depending on what you're actually presenting. So you have depending on color schemes, depending on if you're presenting to an actual audience, you really can choose. As you can see here, I chose a more profile Facebook sense as I was profiling each members of my focus group, so it really was appropriate to the situation and the context of my given Prezi.
It's a very good system to use for a variety of information that you can display different aspects of, so you can spread it out in all in one document. So for example, for this one, I used the layout of profiling because I was profiling different people. And as I said, in the middle, I just kind of explained basically what, as you can see here, basically what the Prezi was about and what I was going to do within it. And then as you move along within the Prezi, you can individually look at the people, basic information with basic headlines, nicely laid out, so it's very easy to navigate and to read for anyone who wishes to view it. Also within my pre-production, I utilised the system of SlideShare. I've also used this before, but this year I think I really learned how to use it more effectively. I use this mainly for narrative theory research, where I personally took on Roland Barthes. Once using SlideShare, I did have the idea of creating a PowerPoint that he's putting into SlideShare, but I think that my technological advancements would have been better if I started from scratch using that system. It was just another system easy for me to use. And once I started it, I think that it certainly was very easy to use. I don't think it is quite easy to use as Prezi, and maybe not as effective to show, but it just shows that it's another system that you can use just to show a basic PowerPoint, mainly to just show information.
This is just an example slide here I showed here, but from this you can see a number of ways why this system is technology is very effective. At the bottom you can see it's very easy to navigate page from page and see how many pages are on there, as well as going full screen and off screen. And at the top you can even email someone the slideshow or even favorite it to show your appreciation to the creator, as well as saving it yourself or embedding it within another software of your choice. What I think was really convenient about this software was how when you actually put it into WordPress, as I did here with my Vladimir prop research, it appears as a SlideShare, so it's very easy to just navigate and go on there. You don't have to follow any links, you can easily just navigate it there and stay on the same website at the same time, so it's very effective technology in that case.
Within this theories PowerPoint of Roland Barthes, I applied our film to his different codes, as well as using an example film of Iron Man 3. Whilst this may have been a bit boring to just put information in. It was quite easy to use as in slideshows. You can search for images within that system, and then you can put that in the background of all the information slides, and therefore it just gives that good look and good presentation that you really want from any presentation that you give. Within our group, Oliver took in charge of the surveys this year, but we also all helped and pitched in. We used SurveyMonkey this time, which I also used last year as well. I think SurveyMonkey is a really good system to use because it's just so easy to navigate and create your own survey. You really don't need to be an expert in anything. It tells you exactly what to do. As you can see here, you can immediately type whatever type of question you want, and then you can just give options very easily, and then publish it and distribute it in any way you choose.
As you can see here, it even gives you an option to choose what audience you're making a survey with, so it supplies you with suggestions on how you structure your survey, what questions are in it, and then you can just go on to create your own survey with any type of questions you want, and then distribute it as you please.
Also, I used this year the effect of social media, so Twitter and Facebook I used to distribute the surveys. As I'm quite familiar with these social media, it wasn't that hard to use. And again, it's a very quick way of getting out the word. As I know today in media, social media is one of the top places where people hear about the films and possible trailers and other marketing strategies. In terms of my deconstructions this year, I did them quite differently from my group from the beginning. I originally used Microsoft Word to create the documents, mainly because it was more easy to lay out images to display exactly what I was talking about. And once I did that, I then linked the Word documents on my blog for them to download. However, I found out after this that this caused a problem for anyone viewing the blog, as once you click on Microsoft Word, it is quite hard to download and could crash depending on what system you have. Therefore, I decided to change the deconstructions and instead take what I had on Microsoft Word and insert it into PowerPoint. And once that, I used my previous knowledge of the system SlideShare to take the PowerPoint and then put it into SlideShare, which then I can easily link onto WordPress. Those are two very closely linked systems that work quite well.
So as you can see here, this is how I originally laid out my deconstructions within Microsoft Word, with the closely linked pictures as well as hyperlinks and all the text aligning quite nicely next to each other, with no improper layout, which I thought was a really effective way to start. However, as this caused a problem, I then transported this into PowerPoint like this, which wasn't really a change in the appearance, so I still enjoyed the design and the layout that I could use here and present quite nicely. As you can see, the images are on the side of the description, so you could easily see what I was talking about, which then I finally transported onto SlideShare right here, which looks very similar to PowerPoint. Yeah, it's more easily and convenient transportable to put onto WordPress and present it much more convenient without any crashing problems that Word caused originally.
In terms of filming this year, we originally intended to use my personal Panasonic camera. However, I have used this in the past, and depending on what editing system you use, it can potentially crash and not work very well with a very slow work rate. So instead this year we went with
a Canon XF100, which is light and portable, very high quality, and it also has a touch screen on the pad, which you can also turn around as well, so any shot angles you could do, you could view it easily as you were doing it, so there was no problems we encountered with this during our filming process.
I think this is a much more high quality camera to use. It's much more easy to use with a tripod as well, and as you're filming, it also has a longer battery life, so it really did not panic us at all, and we took our time with it. And overall was just much easier and nicer to use. Also this year we all decided that we wanted a particular camera movement shot at the beginning of our trailer. We realized that to do this we needed a dolly device. However, due to our limited budget and our limited links, we realized that we had to improvise on this. I took the initiative and realized that as I have a baby sister, she had one of these baby walkers, which basically has the same structure and movement style of a dolly. So we placed the camera and the tripod on that, and we used that for a shot. And in fact, it turned out very well, as you can see here.
Whilst this baby walker may not have shown an advancement in technology, I really believe it showed our creative side to improvise on the spot and use it to enhance our film directly and quickly as possible. And here is the actual shot turnout, which I think we were all very pleased with, as it really did look realistic, like we were using an actual dolly, and it worked quickly and overall we were very pleased with the shot turnout, and we think it looked very effective in our trailer.
Then in terms of editing, I again used the system of Serif Movie Plus X6 this year, which I was already personally familiar with, so there wasn't any getting to know tutorial basic stuff. But I feel like I've definitely developed my abilities this year. This system is a free system to use as well, so there wasn't any concern of budget. But I believe my editing with the sound coordination was a key improvement this year. As I observed in many trailer deconstructions, the trailer needs to be rather fast-paced with smooth editing, especially this within the conclusion of the trailer, which I believe is the most arguably effective section of a trailer. And this year I really got to terms with the sound effects that really speed up the pace and give the audience that big reaction that we want them to have at the end of the trailer. So I did this by coordinating the clip with two very strong boom boom sounds to just make it sound also ever more fast paced and give that big finale that you want in the trailer.
In terms of my technological advancement within the software, a key sound effect I used, which was this. I really believe was a key improvement that I used this year, as it matched the conventions of horror and really built that big finale towards the end, as I matched it with each text title to give that big reaction to the audience that I was hoping for. This especially came into play when I used my last shot of Natalie sitting on the staircase talking hysterically into the phone before it cut calmly to the title sequence. As the audience thinks it's over, then sharply cut to the jump scare at the end, and once again use that sound effect to show how my sound coordination really came to play and gives the audience an unexpected reaction at the end that makes them think about this film afterwards.
As we were doing a horror trailer, I learned that the ending of the trailer also needs to be quite different from your stereotypical drama or romance. In which case, I feel like I needed a jump scare, as it's called in the industry, to make the audience really react to the end of the trailer. By doing this through my editing, I realised that I had one shot where the jump scare happened, where I had to cut it at a certain point. Whereas this proved quite difficult, I created a sound bridge between the title and the shot, just to make it seem like it was all over. As the title shot pans out, then the hand comes into frame, as you can see here, and scares the audience and gives them that big reaction, which I really want them to have. Whilst this was quite difficult for me to do, I believe it really advanced my editing knowledge overall, and just showed how I really advanced within this editing software. In terms of my ancillary tasks this year, I used Photoshop for both of them. This was a software that I briefly used before, but not quite in detail, so it took quite a bit of time for me to learn and get into grabs with it. I think one clear example of me really advancing this year was the separate layers and their individual effects. As you can see here, my main image in both ancillary texts was my image of Damien, as he is the antagonist of our film. As I observed in many deconstructions, the main antagonist or the ghost-like character is what really attracts the horror fans to the horror genre, and therefore I feel like it was really needed to make him stand out, and I know I had to do this through the software.
So as you can obviously see here, Dylan is very standing out because he's very differently edited compared to Natalie at the front. I wanted to make him black and white because it obviously gives him that evil connotation and antagonistic feel overall, as well as you can see the drop shadow on either side makes him appear to be in the shadows, as well as having a dark nature, which even more makes him look like the antagonist. I did this by using the drop shadow as well as a rubber tool going around him to make it look very professional as well, so it's not just a copy and pasted image in there. It looks like he blends into the image, as also again it looks like he's coming out of the shadows, coming out of the background, as well as being positioned over Leela. I believe it shows that he's possessive and dominant of her mind. In my magazine front cover, I used quite a similar image of Dylan to again link my two ancillary texts so the audience can perceive that it is the same film quite easily. But again, you can see on the left here, I've used a fading technique on Dylan's face and Dylan's image to again give him that dark feel and that antagonistic feel on this film, which I think was a really key technique I used on both my texts within Photoshop that really advanced my technological skills within this particular software.
The main effect I used here was the fade on both sides of his face to really make him look antagonistic and not friendly to the audience. And I think that this is the main feature that really progressed my own abilities within this software, as well as the drop shadow that I used on the titles to make the title also stand out, as well as the character. And if you pair them two together, the title relates to the character as well. So it'll all raise that audience intrigue into the film and to find out what it really all means and what's behind it. Overall, I was really pleased with my group and my overall production together. I believe that we had to all pitch in and use different technologies to make this appear as professional as possible. It was a really tough journey, and it was a lot of hard work. But I think that using WordPress and as well as SlideShare, Prezi, the editing software, Serif, Photoshop, it really advanced my abilities on the computer and overall these technologies, as well as making me learn a lot more about the media industry and how it becomes more developed as you go along.